So next up, modern plugs by Antress. These look very exciting. Well, I personally haven't demoed them yet. We'll take a look at these in just a moment. But the skins on these plugs resemble classic gear, especially in their vintage collection. But let's give them a listen and see what they are about.
Right on. Well, this is the Modern Plugs LA2 Me. And so it looks like the LA2A.
Yeah.
Let's see if it does what the LA2A, what you would expect it to do. So I have the Hyde Park, some of those Hyde Park drums.
Nice. From
the Patatomic sample set.
Sweet.
And the Beehive disc. So this is just clean. When I turn the power on, not much going on. There's a few different peak reduction. Now we're seeing some pumping. Turn up the gain. Start to hear some dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a LA2A though.
Not really.
And you can turn it to mono, dual. The meters actually are really good in these lots of the time. You can switch them all from gain reduction or output.
Nice.
There's also a limit compress thing on here, so when I switch it up, it's gonna do even more, or it should.
It's just really not that impressive.
Well, Britton, I mean, honestly, the one of the nicest things about these is they're free. I mean, they did a good job. It is a good compressor limiter, but it's not, of course, it's not going to sound exactly like an LA2A.
To me, it sounds more like a distortion.
Really?
And that does some compression.
Sure.
But Drew, you were talking about one that you liked.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
I believe it's Illusionister.
There it is.
Here it is. This is one of the weird. This is probably the weirdest one.
I think it was pretty.
I've never
cool.
seen a plugin that looks like this.
Now,
Right.
when I was messing around with this thing, I was just using it on one voice like we are now. It might be kind of cool to actually use it on a full mix, like
It might be.
to just for imaging, basically. But it seems what it does is
Let's see what it does.
You'll see.
So XY. We seem to lost some. Well, we lost some volume because of we took the plugin off. But basically, when you move it left, it pans left. When you move it right, it pans right. Now, what does up down do? It changes the tone.
Yeah, kind of the timbre. It's like,
Makes it more, trebly. And you turn it down here, mostly bass.
Nice.
So
it's a filter pan.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
basically.
I've never seen anything like this.
That's kind of
actually.
cool.
If you move it around all crazy.
When you listen to this,
It's too bad that doesn't have an LFO where you could just modulate that.
Yeah,
that would
that'd
be
be
really cool. When you listen to this on your monitors in your studio, you can get the up-down imagery, kind of like the what's on top, what's on bottom from the tonal difference.
Nice.
So it's almost like as you move it around in circles, you can kind of hear the sound
Hear
kind
this
of moving
go in a
up,
circle?
moving down,
Nice.
moving side to side. So, like I said, I want to try it in a mixing environment where I
Yeah.
take every single voice and put it somewhere.
Yeah, it can kind of maybe help with cutting space out in the mix, not only with EQ but with panning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's cool. Something else that I noticed about these plugins that I liked without even hearing them was the fact that, the only metering they show the traditional VU meters. But you don't have a graphical readout of what the EQ is doing. You don't have a graphical readout of what the compression is doing. So you're forced to use your ears a lot more.
Beautiful.
And that's something that I appreciate. In Britain, I know that's something, it's always important to you as well.
Yeah, those plate ears are really working out for you.
Absolutely.
Well, let's listen to this
You look really handsome today, by the way, though. Honestly.
Oh yeah!
Aw.
You shaved. All right. This is the Deep Purple. I believe this is probably. There's a few different EQs in here, but this is probably the best that I've tried of it. It has 2 filters. There's the high pass. You can turn it up, bring out some of the bass. It only goes up to 200 hertz, so it sounds pretty all right. And then the low pass filter, take out some of the treble. That goes down to 12K. Turn that back up, and then the EQ actually, I think, sounds pretty good when you're boosting bass and you keep the Q all lower. So the Q's at the middle here, and we're going to be boosting around 80 hertz. We're not sure exactly because it doesn't really say. Turn down a Q a little bit. And so here's your mid band. Select around 1K. Drop that. Bring it up. I'm going to raise it up and sweep through the frequencies on here. Sounds pretty cool right there.
Yeah.
And then your high band. It's 3-band EQ with 2 filters. And then there's a switch for standard and high res. I have it in high res, and it's hitting the CPU meter on Sonar at 13%. If I turn it down, it just goes down to 9%. So not a huge difference. But if we listen to the difference, this is off, and this is on.
That sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
Yep.
And then finally, probably the best thing in this whole suite, this free suite, is the modern analoger.
Nice.
It makes it analoger. And mainly you do that with the color knob here. And you just turn it up. Turn up your level a little bit. Seems to be getting quieter. That's doing the exact opposite of what I think it would do. Let me turn up the input. So this is I'm going to turn it on to high res mode. This is on. That's off.
Nice.
It's got that sweet mid.
On. Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
distortion.
Yep.
Does a little bit of compression maybe too. Cool. Well, are we ready to move on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Think so.
All right.
Absolutely. All right, so our plan was to try out the Sonovox Muse, but it turns out something's happening. We're having technical difficulties. When we weren't looking, Britton was messing with it. Now it's not working out. You know how he does. So anyway, we're going to
You're a filthy liar.
Dude,
That's what you are.
Come on. Wow! Anyway, anyway, we tried it out, didn't work out, so we're gonna come back next week and give the Muse software a try. But in the meantime, sorry about that. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the show. Oh, I sure did. Britton sure did until that little thing just happened. But yeah, thank you for listening. That concludes the Gearwire Crosstalk podcast for February 16th. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Later.
Bye bye. Say goodbye, Britton.
Goodbye, Britton.
Couldn't hear you. His face is on the floor.
Watch